We got some great news, guys. Bryson Muir has been found alive. We got some other information here, too. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Pascal. Welcome to the Pascal Show. As you guys already know, we have been covering this case of Bryson Muir. And like I said just a second ago, we got some new updates and some good news, but a quick, very, very brief recap. Now, this young man went over to his grandmother's house looking a lot like this. Okay? Exactly like this, actually. And the grandmother got very concerned about how he was looking. Apparently, when she said, "Hey, what happened? Who did this and why did this happen?" He said, Grandma, I'm just telling you, I deserved it." And he claims that this was done by his father, ex-NFL player Daniel Muir, who also is a main pastor and one of the main leaders of the Straightway Truths Ministry in Indiana, in the Indiana chapter. Okay. And because from my understanding, Straightway Truth Ministries is in multiple places. But they basically had this young man, from what we understand now, hidden on the compound where they do everything, where they learn, live, and grow as a family or as a religious group. So, of course, I wanted to give you guys this update because this is some pretty crazy stuff, okay? But nonetheless, this young man has been found alive. And then also on top of that, here's another piece. Parents have been brought into custody, and they're doing a search inside that compound right now. This is some very, very big news and great news because let's be real. I'm going to say it now. There could be many other kids, other women as well, other people as well, inside that compound that are dealing with the same type of punishment, the same type of we can't say that word. We got to use these code words, guys. Okay. But the same type of abuse going on here. All right. So let's get into this article because we got some updates here and a video that we're going to take a look at. So, of course, he has been found safe and well, which is fantastic. Parents in custody after Logansport raid. They raided it, guys. They came in suited and booted, ready to go. And now they are doing a deep dive into the actual compound and the organization. And I'm telling you right now, I hope to God they're doing everything they can to bring other kids and other people to safety. Let's take a look at this. The 14-year-old son of former Indianapolis Colts player has been found more than 2 weeks after his reported disappearance. His parents are now in custody. Bryson's parents are now in custody, and several other people were detained, by the way. And I'm wondering why several other people were detained as well in connection to his disappearance or what? Were they holding him against his will? And those guys and those individuals are arrested for holding him against his will? Or did they find other people that are victims of this type of treatment as well? I'm quite curious. But they were detained on Wednesday, okay, in Cass County, as ISP, Indiana State Police, served arrests and search warrants. The teen appeared safe and well, according to ISP. He was released into the custody of Cass County Department of Child Services. Now, what's interesting about this is what Daniel Muir, the father, and the mama, Kristen Muir, what are they facing, right? What kind of charges are they facing? So we're looking at this here. His father, Daniel, faces preliminary charges of DB. I got to use these code words, but a Class A misdemeanor, and obstruction of justice, which is a level 6 felony, while his mother is facing just the preliminary charge of obstruction of justice, which, of course, again, is a level 6 felony. So in other words, if they are tried and found guilty of doing these things, one, we already know that a level 6 felony, he could be obstruction of justice could very well mean that they could be locked up for a while. Okay. But then Daniel, the dad, may be locked up for a much longer time because of the domestic B. Okay. Because we already have the proof. The public, the media, law enforcement all have the proof of this DB, okay? This child A, if you will, okay? From that photo I just showed you. That photo was actually taken by the grandmother. And I want to say shout out to the grandma, okay? Because she saw something and she said something. And I'm telling you right now, I hope that other people take this and take this to heart, take this as a learning, a wake up call, okay? And know that, hey, if you see something, please say something. Do the right thing. That's all I feel like myself, everybody else out here that reports and covers these cases, even these kids and these individuals that endure this type of punishment, this type of pain. I hope for those of y'all who are seeing it, this inspires you to say something, okay? But nonetheless, parents are going to be looking at some serious time, okay? Arrest warrants have been issued for both parents. Police took them to the Cass County Jail. Okay. Now, of course, this all happened on their compound. Now, I got a report from Fox 59 that I want to share with you guys. And so let's rock and roll and take a listen to this.
Breaking news right now as state police raid the Logansport compound where the parents of Bryson Muir live, and that includes Daniel Muir, a former Indianapolis Colts player.
Of course, we've been following this story for some time after police say Bryson went missing back on June 16th. Fox 59's Eric Graves has been part of this coverage since the early onset, and Eric, it does sound like there is some good news here.
Zach and Angela, we have been told that Bryson Muir has been found. That's 14-year-old boy missing since June 16th when his grandmother first called police in the Cleveland area. We are here in Cass County, just outside Logansport. I want to give you a closer look at the investigation going on right now. We're on Sadler Hill Drive. This is just on the other side of US 24 west out of Logansport where the Muir property is. We believe this to be a very large property. As you can see, this is 3 state police cars, 3 state police officers with large weapons. There's another state police officer off to my right over here that appears to be operating a drone, taking a look out over this property. We believe it to be a couple dozen acres back here from what we have been able to tell. We brought you here for the first time last Wednesday, a week ago, and gave you a view from the US 24, a gate there, a locked gate, big lock on it.
Now, real quick, I know a lot of people are wondering, and I was wondering the same thing. Why did it take so doggone long? I mean, this was weeks, and this kid was always on the compound. It's not like he was held against his will somewhere else. It wasn't like he was taken by somebody, okay? It's not like he was Liam Neeson's out here, all right? He literally was on the compound, and the family, the parents, were cooperating, then they weren't cooperating, and then they went back to not cooperating, only speaking through their lawyer to law enforcement and all that stuff, which is pretty crazy to me, okay? And a lot of us are wondering why this happened. Why did they suddenly finally go, right? So one of the things, number one, I think that they were worried about another Waco happening. Now, if you don't know about David Koresh and all that stuff, I highly recommend just Google it, okay, and see the breakdown of it, okay? And there's plenty of documentaries and docu-series, movies, and all that stuff out here covering that whole situation, and it's pretty wild. It was gruesome, and a lot of law enforcement lost their lives during that raid. So they keep thinking, I'm assuming they're thinking that they're scared of they're worried about the livelihood of not only the innocent lives that are on that compound, but also police lives, right? As we understand, some of these guys are suited and booted on that compound, heavy artillery, so on and so forth. So what are the chances of them going onto that compound and getting ambushed themselves, right? But one of the other pieces is, why did it take so long? Possibly because of the fear of that. Maybe there's certain laws or something of that sort that protect this compound from law enforcement being able to just hop on or walk on to that property and start asking questions. Maybe that's the part as well. But one of the other pieces that I think a lot of people are curious about is, why did they suddenly do it this early this morning? What happened, right? What was the thing that tipped everything over? What was the tipping point? Well, allegedly, Daniel and Kristen Muir were due for a court appearance on yesterday morning, and they did not show up. And I think that was the final straw for law enforcement. They said, okay, if they're not willing to cooperate, if they're not willing to show and produce their child, showing the police proof positive that they have him in his custody, and two, he is okay. If they're not willing to do that, and then now we ask for a court-appointed appearance, and you still didn't show up for that, we gotta get in here. We gotta do some work. And that's exactly what they did. Now, what's interesting is that they're diving into the compound even more. Like they said, drones and all that. That's pretty wild stuff. But let's continue.
Several no trespassing signs, along with several homes on the property. This was when we had just been told of Bryson Muir's disappearance. 14-year-old here in Logansport, son of Daniel Muir, former Colts player, Kristen Muir, his mom. He was last seen by his grandma on June 16th. He was beaten and battered at the time, a black eye, a split lip, a swollen face. I talked to his grandma a few days ago. She told me he doesn't know how many times that boy had to have been hit for his face to look like that. And Bryson admitted that it was his father, Daniel Muir, who had hit him. And that
he admits that it was his dad who actually put his paws on him. Okay. And I think that's a very, very big piece of information as well. Because in my mind, I keep thinking that maybe the compound, maybe this religious organization, this religious group was doing everything they can to protect their leader, protect their pastor, which is Daniel Muir. And that's why they maybe hid Bryson out, maybe hoping that by the time they finally have to show Bryson that his bruises would heal, the cuts would heal, and he would be able to be maybe coerced into saying, hey, my dad didn't do anything at all, and just straight up lie to law enforcement. I don't know, but still very interesting stuff that they were trying to hide this young man. And I think that's the other reason why several other people also got detained in regards to this case as well, because they were probably trying to hide this young man. And I think it was a bunch of people that helped trying to hide him.
That has been the subject of this ISP work for the past week now, as they have tried to get a hold of these parents. It's been an unusual case. When you usually have a missing child, the parents are the biggest advocate trying to find their child. This time, the parents not helping. They had believed they had a meetup planned for Friday, as we do see ISP begin to get in their cars out here. Now, I was able to take a look around the bend as they have us back here at a safe distance. There was an armored SWAT vehicle inside, and we believe there to be dozens of officers combing this property right now, as they have got into custody the Muir parents, Daniel and Kristen, and they do have 14-year-old Bryson in custody. As we're told, I'm going to move out of the road here, as we've got a state police vehicle coming past us. That's a Logansport police vehicle, actually. Angela and Zach, I'm going to throw it back to you. We're going to try and get more information. We're going to, as we've gotten some of those reports from neighbors saying, hey, we're seeing, some people reported seeing as many 60 police cars gathering just a mile from this, prepared to do this. I can tell you that the other entrance to this compound off US 24, they have it blocked just off the highway that's probably just a few hundred yards behind us. So we came around here to the back entrance to give it a little bit better of a picture of what they're doing. I know this isn't much, but we're going to try and get you some more visuals. And there are houses around this. This is a more rural part of Logansport, but there certainly are some homes here. So we're going to try and talk to as many neighbors as we can.
Now, of course, they don't talk to any neighbors in this video, but you just heard they had 60 plus law enforcement a mile down the road because they were expecting it to be, well, they were anticipating the possibility of it turning into a Waco, turning into a firefight all over this young kid, Bryson, because law enforcement, media, the public, all just wanted to know if this young man was okay and if they had this young man in their possession. All this could have been remedied. I mean, all this would have been remedied if Daniel didn't put his hands on his son like that. I mean, let's be real. That it starts from the root of that, right? From the root of the matter. But all of this would have, if he still put his hands on his son like this, all of this would have been fine if they didn't try to hide Bryson away from law enforcement and away from the public. It's pretty wild stuff, though, guys, right? They were going at great lengths to try to, I guess, protect Pastor Muir, if you really call him a pastor. Now, of course, they're not done yet. Law enforcement is nowhere near done yet. Now they opened up a whole can of worms because of their lack of responding to law enforcement, their lack of showing up on June 27th when ISP first asked for a proof of life on Bryson. All of this could have been remedied, like I said, if they just were cooperative, and they weren't. And now you got law enforcement diving into the compound, and they're going to dig and try to find anything and everything they can to possibly shut the whole mother lover down. Again, this is some crazy stuff, y'all. But nonetheless, I am extremely happy, okay, that this young man, Bryson, has been found alive, safe, and now is in the custody of Child Protective Services or Child Services. I'm very, very happy about this. And I also say, I hope law enforcement is doing their due diligence. They're diving into that compound and they're talking to everyone and anyone else that is a victim of this type of treatment. If they are, I hope that they're getting them out of that compound as quickly as possible, because if the leader is leading like this and treating their child like this, I'm sure this is the type of language that is condoned. This type of treatment is condoned in the compound. And there are plenty of other kids and other adults, I'm sure, that have endured this type of treatment. So please, law enforcement, do your due diligence. Don't just comb through it and do like a light broad stroke approach to this. Please bring as many people as you can to safety from that compound, because I'm sure some others are feeling trapped in there right now as we speak. Another thing I want to say, though, too, again, I said it earlier, but shout out to the grandma, shout out to the auntie, okay, to Bryson's aunt as well, that have been out here working diligently, working hard to keep his name out here and bringing awareness to the public about this case. Again, if you see something, you say something. I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for the grandma calling 911, without her seeing it and saying something, this case may not be a case. They may save a bunch of other people, all because the grandma did the right thing. She saw something and she said something. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button if you're watching over there on Facebook. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. He's found alive, guys. We saved one. Now it's time to go and save a whole lot more. It's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Talk to you guys soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.